Welcome, my dear listeners. Stay with me to get the spoilers first and subscribe to the channel. Let's find out what's going to happen on The Young and the Restless. Billy's fury explodes as Victoria's betrayal could put him in handcuffs. The week of May 4 on The Young and the Restless is looking less like a business fallout and more like a full-scale family disaster. Victor Newman's AI-generated evidence is already putting Phyllis Summers, Kane Ashby, and Bill Abbott in the crosshairs. Kane is said to be arrested in the week ahead preview, and Billy may be right behind him if the legal dominoes keep falling. This is exactly the kind of pressure that turns the tense conversation into a blow-up, and the person, Billy, may end up unleashing his wrath on his Victoria Newman. The first warning shot came in the Monday, May 4 recap when Victoria showed up at Billy's place and told him he was implicated by Victor's AI evidence against Phyllis and Kane. Billy immediately pushed back, insisting that neither Phyllis nor Kane would be careless enough to leave a paper trail if they were actually guilty, and saying he had nothing to do with whatever mess Victor had manufactured. Victoria did not soften. She told him Phyllis stole everything from Victor, framed the situation as justice, and made it very clear that she was willing to let Billy go down if that is where the evidence led. That is the real spark behind Billy's coming fury. This is not a stranger threatening him. This is Victoria Newman, the mother of his children and the woman he used to be madly in love with, appearing calm enough to warn him while also making it obvious she is not standing between him and Victor's revenge plan. The serial spoiler prize says Billy will see her disloyalty as a massive betrayal, and that is the kind of emotional soap fans know can only lead to a long, ugly war. When a former spouse decides your freedom is collateral damage, the rage does not stay polite for long. The timing makes the betrayal sting even worse because Billy's personal life is finally moving in a hopeful direction. He is excited about having a new baby with Shelly Spectra, and the spoiler cover says he has promised to be by her side every step of the way. But promises like that only mean something if he is free to keep them. If Billy gets hold of in handcuffs, especially in front of Shelley, the whole engagement bubble could burst in one humiliating insult. The article even spells out that possibility. Billy could be arrested with Shelley watching, and that would not just be embarrassing, it would be emotionally catastrophic. That's why the week of Monday for preview matters so much. The promo says Kane is getting arrested and Lily is going into full panic mode as she watches him hauled away in cuffs. Since Victor's AI evidence is implicating Kane, Phyllis, and Billy, the preview makes it easy to imagine Billy getting swept into the same legal trap. The show is clearly setting up a domino effect. If Kane gets arrested first, Billy may not be far behind. And if the evidence is strong enough to support one arrest, it may be strong enough to drag another aboard straight into the same nightmare. Billy's biggest fear is not just prison. It is what prison could do to the future he is trying to build with Shelley. The spoiler article says he is thrilled about the idea of a new child and has been promising to stay by Shelley's side. That makes the possibility of jail even more brutal because it threatens both his personal and romantic future at once. Billy is already imagining fatherhood, engagement, and a fresh start. Victoria's apparent willingness to let him take the fall makes that future look fragile, and if the cops do come out, Billy will not only blame Victor, he will blame Victoria too. That blame will be especially intense because Victoria and Billy were already fighting recently over whether to send the kids back to boarding school. This is not a pair with one easy issue to resolve. They already have old resentment, co-parenting friction, and unresolved emotional history layered on top of the current legal crisis. The new round of conflict could be even worse because the time Billy's freedom is one line. When your ex is willing to let a father of your children go down in Victor's revenge plot, co-parents with tension becomes open enemies very quickly. Billy's sense of betrayal goes beyond the legal system because Victoria is not just any former partner, she is the mother of Johnny and Katie's children, someone he once loved deeply and someone he expected to at least be honest about where she stood. Instead, the spoilers say Victoria basically suggested she was fine with Billy being caught in Victor's crossfire. That disloyalty will hit hard. It will leave Billy wondering what she is going to tell Johnny about and Katie about if he really does end up behind bars. In other words, Billy is already thinking about the family fallout before the legal one even lands. Victoria's likely response is predictable and aggravating in equal measure. She may tell Billy this is his own fault for getting mixed up with Phyllis and Kane's scheme. The current recap says she is already framing the issue as justice and not revenge, and that is the line she will probably keep using if Billy pushes back. But that explanation is not going to calm him down. Billy will no doubt blame Victoria and Victor for any terrible legal news that follows, because from his perspective, the Newman machine is deliberately sweeping him into a mess he never asked for. That is where the story gets really dramatic. Billy is not just reacting like a man facing bad news, he is reacting like a man realizing that the people he once trusted most are the ones willing to sacrifice him. Victoria may argue that he is the one who helped destroy the family legacy by getting involved with Phyllis and Kane. But the tone of the spoiler coverage makes it clear Billy is not going to accept that explanation quietly. In fact, the article says he will tell Victor to keep him out of the revenge plot or regret it. That is not the language of a man trying to keep the peace, that is a warning. The legal stakes are only getting worse because Christine Blair Romaloti is now officially involved, and the recap says she already understands how messy this could become. Victoria tried to downplay Billy's role in May's first episode, but Christine wanted her to recognize that the situation could get messy first. Victoria's response basically made it sound like she was okay with that, so if Billy does get pulled into the arrest sweep, he may come to believe that Victoria helped set all this in motion even if she claims she was just speaking honestly about the evidence. That is the kind of distinction Billy will not care about when his freedom is on the line. The other reason Billy's race could explode is that he knows exactly what prison would cost him. He would not just miss business opportunities or lose face. He would miss being there for Shelley and their baby. The spoiler article makes that fair explicit. If Billy lands in prison, he cannot be by Shelley's side every step of the way he promised. That is a devastating possibility for a man who has finally found a future that feels worth protecting. Victoria's role in that potential outcome makes the betrayal personal in a way Billy is not likely to forgive. And while all of this is happening, Kane's arrest story is about to intensify the fallout for everybody. The week preview says Kane's arrest is part of Victor's AI scheme against Phyllis, and because Billy is implicated by the same fake evidence, it is easy to see how one arrest could trigger the next. Lily's panic over Kane makes the situation even more volatile because the same legal engine threatening Billy is already tearing apart other relationships too. This is not one isolated problem, it is a chain reaction built to hit multiple characters at once. That chain reaction is what makes Victoria such a dangerous target for Willie's worth. She may not have personally created Victor's AI program, but she is helping enforce the outcome. She is warning Billy he is implicated. She is not fighting Victor's move. She is not shielding Billy from the worst consequences. She is, at best, standing aside and at worst helping let him go down. That is enough to make a man like Billy furious, especially when he thinks the mother of his children should know better than to sacrifice him for Victor's revenge. So the next round of Billy and Victoria conflict is likely to be much uglier than their earlier fights. This is no longer about boarding school or old family grudges. This is about handcuffs, prison, Shelley's pregnancy, and the possibility that Billy is about to lose the chance to raise his new child because Victoria was willing to let the legal chips fall where they may. That is the kind of betrayal a soap character remembers for a long time. Billy may be furious now, but if the arrest comes the way the spoilers suggest, his anger at Victoria is only going to grow. The cleanest way to read this spoiler set is that Victoria has chosen Victor's side and Billy has finally realized it. She may insist she is just being realistic. Billy will see it as treachery, and when the legal fallout gets serious enough to threaten his freedom, his engagement, and his future with Shelley, his rage at Victoria could become one of the loudest explosions Genoa's city hears. All tensions explode in the young and the restless as betrayal, revenge, and shocking legal threats collide in one unforgettable week. When Victor Newman unleashes AI generated evidence, the fallout hits hard, dragging Billy aboard Phyllis Summers and Kane Ashby straight into a legal nightmare. But it's not just the threat of arrest that pushes Billy over the edge. It's who stands by and lets it happen. As Victoria Newman delivers a chilling warning instead of support, Billy realizes something devastating. He may be completely on his own, and when the woman he once trusted most appears willing to let him fall, his fury reaches a breaking point. With handcuffs looming and Shelley Spectra and their future hanging in the balance, Billy is forced to confront an unthinkable reality. Everything has built could be ripped away in an insult. Meanwhile, Christine Blair steps in as the legal storm intensifies, and one arrest could trigger a domino effect that tears Genoa City apart. Is Victoria protecting his father or betraying Billy? Will Billy be the next one in handcuffs? And can his future with Shelley survive what's coming? This isn't just a legal battle, it's a war of loyalty, love, and survival.